like we do.
ADNC keeps me informed and him inspired.
We've been through too much to trust mainstream media. This feels like us.
From the D to the diaspora, ADNC is how I stay woke.
We binge ADNC like it's Netflix, but smarter.
They speak on us, but never for us. ADNC does.
No fluff, no filters, just the truth, daily.
From Wall Street to 125th, we're watching our news.
Download the African Diaspora News Channel app today to stay connected to the culture.
Well, hello, ADNC family. I hope all is well. Emma Ansah here, and it is Tuesday. And I hope that everybody's off to a good start of their week, whether you're, have to drive into the office every day or what have you. I hope everybody's having a great week so far. And as usual, I'm going to say it. I hope you've already grabbed the African Diaspora News Channel app. And if you have not, you must. You're missing out on some really, really good stuff. And to those who have already downloaded, we thank you much. We appreciate you. And to those who have not, please make sure that you do. Please, please, please. And I see that Buckhorse is here. Hey, Buckhorse. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hello, Elaine Earl, 9221. Shalom to you. Thanks so much for joining me today. And thank you for everybody else that's tuning in right now. I appreciate you much. So today we're going to talk about something that I'm very passionate about, which is missing Black youth. I've reported on it here in Canada. I've reported on it in the United States, and I came across this video with two Black kids that were just with this random man, and a woman stepped in, and that lies in the importance of us looking out for our youth. So we're going to go ahead and watch that, and we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about the importance of, as I said, looking out for our youth, going back to the days of old where, you had auntie across the street and uncle on the other side who would be watching out for, the kids in the neighborhood and what have you. So we'll watch this and then we'll talk some more, and I'll even share my personal story. So let's just check this out.
Do you know who he is? Why are you taking pictures of with them? No, why? Come on. Yeah, I'm gonna watch you. Go home. You go home. No, not you. You stay here. Yeah, run. Hey, walk with them. Prince. Walk with them. Walk them home. You're not Prince. You look like Prince. But you, I know you. Walk with them. I don't know who this guy is, but he's taking pictures of them little girls. Go. Take them home. Them right there. Take them home. Make sure they make it home. Janaya, I forget her name. Yeah, Janaya. Yeah, her. Make sure they get home. I don't know who that guy is, but he was taking pictures of them.
So as you can see, this woman identified a potential problem. Why would this Asian man be with these Black girls that he doesn't know, taking pictures of them, and they're with him? So as I said, this woman identified this and said, this doesn't look good. So she pulled up and she asked some questions. And you see, the first question she asked is, do you know this man? And both of those little girls said no. So she was like, go home. I'm going to watch you. You go home. And then she saw two little boys that she, at least one of them that she recognized from, I'm assuming she lives in the neighborhood. She lives in the area. And told them to walk with them. And she said, I will watch you. So this is what I am talking about. This is the importance of us as adults and other people when we see something, because I say this all the time when I'm reporting on missing Black youth, etc. I say, if you see something, say something. Far too many times people have reached out to me and said, I saw your report on missing Black youth. And you know what? I think I saw that person and she was with, or he was with a very, sketchy looking person. And I thought something didn't seem right, but they didn't say anything, right? So this is what I'm talking about. This could have been a situation, okay? This could have been a situation of an abduction. This could have been a situation of two missing Black girls. And I don't want to shame parents, but I will say this, back in my day, my parents told us two very, very important things, which is, A, don't talk to no strangers, especially us as Black kids growing up in the racist province of Quebec. She would tell us, do not talk to anybody. Don't go with anybody. Don't go in any car with anybody. I mean, drilled it in our skulls before we left the house. I remember as early as 6 years old hearing this in my ears. And trust me, we applied that because, number one, we didn't play with our parents. We didn't want no smoke from our Ghanaian parents. That's the first thing, okay? And then secondly, we just didn't, we already knew what we were going through, as Black people and anti-Black racism and everything else and constantly being attacked and stuff. So we weren't going nowhere with nobody. And that just stayed with us, right? Like we weren't allowed to go to anybody's house. We weren't allowed to sleep over at anybody's house. My parents were very intentional on if they want to play with you or if they want to sleep over or if they want to, to go to their house, they're coming here where I can see them. And I've talked about this before. Now, back to these two kids, they're, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years old to me, they look like. And the fact that they're out there by themselves playing, we can't really see whether they're across the street from their house or whatever the case can be. I know it was in the United States somewhere, but we don't know that, like the landscape as it is. But nevertheless, the fact that this person was able to pull up to them and had this woman not pulled up and kind of squashed that whole situation, who knows what would have happened, right? So that's the scary part of this. Now, as far as statistics go, do you guys want to know how many Black kids go missing in the United States in a year? 141,000. That's not a small amount. And do you want to know how many Black kids make up the population of the United States? Only 13 to 14,000. So that's a huge amount that go missing, okay? And as I said, this could have been another situation of missing Black youth. And then the other problem is when it comes to missing Black youth, there are three categories that are not where they should be. One is the media attention. It's not as high as it would be for kids that are non-melanated. That's the first thing. And then secondly, there's no Amber Alerts. And now Amber Alerts, that's kind of a different situation because with Amber Alerts, it specifically applies to if you've been abducted. So if a parent reports their child missing, unless we know for sure that the child's been abducted, that's when they would probably use, that's when they do use Amber Alerts. However, there's still fewer Amber Alerts when it comes to Black youth. And then the third thing is it's just treated with less urgency. And we've heard parents say, I called the police and they said, oh, she probably went off with her boyfriend, or he's probably, ran off to go deal drugs and things like that. So the urgency and the importance and the diligence and all of that is lower with Black kids. So that's why I really feel it's so important for us. I always say this, we are all we have. We are all we got. That for us to be the aunties, the uncles, the mentors, and all of those things to make sure that we keep watch on our youth, right? And then as parents, I would say again, instill the old school, don't you dare go out with don't talk to nobody, don't get in no car with nobody, don't do any of those things when you're out here on these streets. The world we live in now is not even like back in my day in the 70s and 80s and what have you. It's different. It's a different world now. It is a different world. So we need to be telling our kids this on a regular basis. Okay. So when our kids are out here playing and stuff and what have you, we need to be in eye shot of them so that we can see where they are at all times. Okay. And that's the important thing that we have to do as parents. Let me see what you guys are all saying here. Isaac, you're saying shout out to this white woman for looking out for the two young girls. I agree. That was scary. Tim G says, I agree. Tag numbers. I don't know if anybody caught that license plate of this man, how he took off. And if you're not up to anything, why are you taking off, sir? So, we need to tag that license plate indeed. And he needs to be questioned. Under no circumstance should there be a grown man with little kids taking pictures. That's problematic. All manner of things can be going on and nothing good. All right. Josh Norris, you're saying, shout out to the woman for standing on business and calling him out. Exactly. Peace and love to you, Israel Yashay. Hey, Anthony Daniels, thanks for tuning in. The Asian community is heavily involved in human trafficking. That is true. There's definitely involved in that, but it's not only them. And that's the problem. This time it's an Asian man. It could be a black man. It could be a white man. It can be women get involved in it as well. And they're the ones that they use a lot because of the maternal thing, right? So they go and they play the mommy or the auntie and what have you. And they definitely use women. It's sad to say, but there are a lot of women involved in this too. So it's yes, Buckhorse, street lights come on and you better be on the front porch. And if you're not, auntie and uncle across the street is telling you, take your behind home, right? I know in Ghana, everybody's my mom and everybody's my dad. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we need to get back to. Appreciation to the Caucasian woman for intervening. Yes, I agree. 100%. She was like, go home. And then when the man was trying to leave, she goes, no, not you. You stay here. And, it may not even have been safe for her, but she definitely stepped up. And she was like, you know what? I'm going to look out for these little kids. And I appreciate her for that. I greatly appreciate her. Isaac, you're saying the same thing. Yep. Hey, on the buses from Scotland. Thanks so much for tuning in. T. Johnson, you're saying, I think we need to have our own Amber Alert, even if it just starts with our neighborhoods. And then each neighborhood should have a lead number that shares with other neighborhoods. Yeah, that's a great idea. We definitely do. Like I said, we have to be there for our people. We definitely have to be there for our people, our youth, and, the children are our future. We got to be there. Yeah, he did slid and he pulled off, but she got his license plate tagged. We got an image of the license plate. T. Johnson, you said those neighborhoods can then go across cities and then countries and states. Yeah. Yep. It definitely takes a village. I agree. She may have been going somewhere and it's not really on her to do it either, but I might have even wanted to put them in my vehicle. I would have been like, get in this car and I'm driving you home. If she doesn't know where they live, I would still try to find out, but I would definitely call 911 once I got that license plate. I sure would, but she sat and watched. So clearly she knows where they live. So it seems to me like she actually knows these girls. She probably lives in the neighborhood, as I said. And she's seeing that this man has no business with these two kids. And I greatly appreciate her for that. I really do. Johnson Norris, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. You said human trafficking is $1 billion industry all over and all types of people are tapped into it. Facts. I mean, it's a big deal out here in Canada as well. I mean, the amount of human trafficking that's going on here, it's bad. It's bad, and the United States is 3 times as large as Canada, but per capita, the numbers are staggering here. Okay, like it's bad. So just like I always say here when I'm reporting about it here, is we need to do the same thing: is keep watch, see something, say something. Something doesn't seem right. It's likely because it doesn't. And that also goes for, even because one of the things that happens a lot here too is you'll have a Black youth that's maybe 12, 11, 10, and they have a friend that's 20. That needs to be looked at, because there's no reason why a 20-year-old wants to be friends with a 10-year-old or a 9-year-old or a 12-year-old, right? So as parents, that's one of the things that we have to really do, is really watch who our kids are friends with, who our kids are moving with, who our kids are hanging out with, even with social media, who are our kids socializing with? Because one of the ways that they lure children in as well is through social media. They slide into their DMs and they befriend them and make them feel loved and all that other stuff. And then you've got them that pull up to kids in parks, and in this case, they're playing outside and they scope it out. It's not like they just randomly, they scope out. They're like, oh, these kids are out here at this park every day or every week or every Sunday, or these 2 kids, like these 2 little Black girls are playing outside at this time of the day on a regular basis. And they definitely, it's a pretty sophisticated organization, okay, and the way that they move. So there's so many things that parents and even mentors and people in the neighborhood and stuff need to pay attention to. And they really know how to pick who they're going to prey upon, if you will. So some of the things that we can do is make sure that we are really tapped into our kids and what they're doing. As I said, who they're hanging out with. Are they retroverted? Or introverted, I should say? Are you seeing them on their phones and tablets more when they used to be outside more playing with their kids? Are you seeing them withdrawing from school and sports and all of the things that usually a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old would do, right? You look at that. And then you also, again, you got kids out here playing. You keep an eye on them there too. Make sure you talk to your kids, make them feel safe that they can come talk to you about anything, have those conversations. Also sit down with your kids and let them watch documentaries and what have you about what goes on and how these operations work. I know there's a documentary that CBC here in Canada did, and it's specifically about Black youth being lured to places up north, Aurelia, Thunder Bay, North Bay, even Niagara, and they call it OT, and they're lured out there to sell drugs, right? So they're lured by sometimes 18-year-olds and adults and people who masquerade as a husband and wife team. And then they show them love, they manipulate them, they groom them, all of those things. So we have to be really, really careful and really make sure that you understand these things, because there's information out there. There really is. So have those conversations with your kids, make your kids sit down and watch it. Old school way of doing things. Like I said, my parents are like, yeah, don't you dare talk to nobody. You're not going to nobody's house. You're not sleeping at anybody's house. You're not doing any of those things. You stay right here and play with your brothers and sisters, or you stay right outside this door on this street where I can see you're behind. That's what it is. And that's definitely what it needs to be in this day and age, as I said. I'm going to talk about myself too, like my story, because I've said this before, I used to be a wanderer. It didn't matter where I went. I would be with my parents and my sisters and my brothers. We could be in a mall, we could be in a playground, wherever we are in like a public setting. And I would just wander off. I literally came out of my mother's womb independent. So I was always so curious. I wanted to go see what's this, what's that, what's this, what's that. And I would get lost. I would be lost for hours. Okay. And back then in the 60s, 70s, 80s, it was a little bit different than it is today, right? So I would end up with security, and then they would do an all call and call my parents on an all call and say, your daughter is come to the security desk or whatever. And then there I would be, right? And one day I was 9 years old. I got lost in a hotel, and my father worked at the hotel, and I just wandered off like I do, and I got lost. But what my parents always drilled in my skull, as I said, is don't talk to anybody, do not go with anybody, don't get in a car with anybody, all of those things. So this man approached me, and do you know, even though I was 9 years old, I can still remember his exact appearance. If you ask me to describe him, I can describe him to a T. That's the other thing my mother really taught us how to do, which is to be able to describe anybody who's like approaching you, anybody who's trying to do some shadiness stuff or harm you in any way. She really taught us how to describe them. So at 9 years old, I remembered exactly how this man looked. And he was asking me to come with him, excuse me. And I remember saying to him, but why? Like, why do you want me to come with you? And he was like, oh, just come. I just want to check you out. And he said something that's the part I don't remember, but all I know is it didn't seem right. Like what he was up to wasn't good, because why is this random white man, grown white man, asking a 9-year-old black girl to come with him, right? So I remember mommy told me, do not talk to strangers, do not go anywhere with strangers. And I specifically remember telling him, my mother told me not to talk to strangers, and my mother told me not to go with strangers. So I did not go with him. I repeatedly said no. And then I ran like as fast as my little 9-year-old legs can take me. I ran. And I know for a fact that had I not had that, instilled within me from like age 6 to not go with strangers, I may not be here today to be talking to y'all. I'm convinced of that, because I know that man was not up to anything good. And I would have been one of those people that was on a missing flyer or something like that, with my parents looking for me and search parties and what have you. I'm convinced of it. Eventually, obviously, I was found, but I'll tell you what, from that day on, I never wandered off again, because that was very frightening. It was extremely frightening. I was terrified, but even with my terror, I knew better. I remember mom. Okay. I remember what my Ghanaian mother told me. So I did not go. But this is what I mean, is these are the things that we have to instill in our children. I'm telling you, because we live in an age now where you got social media and they're on there. Didn't have social media back in our day. Social media. And I'm telling you, that's one of the main tools that they use to prey upon the kids. There's reports of kids that have went and met some random person that they met online. They met on Instagram. They met on TikTok and all that stuff. So we as parents have to be very careful. I always say this. I think parents, mentors, step parents, bonus parents, whatever you want to call yourselves, should create what they call a Finsta or whatever and befriend your child so you could see what they got going on. I mean, I'll tell you what, if I had a child in those age ranges at this point in life, I would be doing that, because I need to see what's going on. Because your kids aren't always going to tell you everything. Even if you have a great relationship, oftentimes there's certain things that they're going to keep to themselves, especially when they become teenagers. When they become teenagers, oh my gosh, like we're just old and dumb and we don't know nothing and they know everything, right? And they just run their fresh mouth, right? So, excuse me. So yeah, we need to do whatever we need to do. Okay, I know with iPhone you have all those things where you can track your kids. Use everything in your arsenal to keep watch on your children. But I will say again, I shout out to this woman. I give her big kudos for doing what she did. It could have been a very dangerous situation for her as well, as I said. So I appreciate her. John Norris, or Josh Norris, I'm sorry. I hope the lady who stepped in called him out. Stays safe. Who knows if that man and the person that was driving the getaway car got her plates also. Exactly. This could have been a very dangerous situation, but she still was like, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. And she had her phone out too. So she's got his image. She's got the license plate. She did what she had to do. She stood on business for those kids, and I appreciate it. Buckhorse, you said my mama used to hide behind cars when I would walk to school. Listen, like I said, use everything in your arsenal. In this day and age, use everything in your arsenal. Yes, thank you, Mike. Nice to you. That's what I'm going to call it. Truth Be Told Tuesday. And we're going to drop some truth bombs. Thanks, Mike. Nice. Appreciate that name. Yes, Buckhorse, bonus parents as well, because I think that's what they call themselves, right? Bonus parents, bonus moms, bonus dads, whatever we want to call them. All of us need to be a squad for our youth. Benya77, thanks so much for tuning in. Parents must govern their children, not to the government, because they are the biggest human traffickers in history, namely so-called child protective agencies. Whoa, wow. Well, listen, again, I don't want to shame parents because I don't know these kids' situation. Maybe the parents are at work. Maybe it's a single parent household, which is another thing. They prey on single parent households where it's just a single mom in the house. And, they will manipulate them and say things like, oh, your parents aren't going to, your mom isn't going to love you like I do. Your parents aren't going to love you like we do. And then come on, get in the car. We'll take you shopping. And God only knows what this Asian man was saying to these kids while he was taking pictures and where are those pictures going. Like this is not okay. I really hope that now that this is out here, that the police have captured this man's license plate and he's already been taken in, okay, and questioned. Ambry Harris, you're saying, please listen. To don't talk to strangers. Yes, I'm telling you, these days it takes a village to raise a child, Kay Stewart. I agree. And, some parents will be like, hey, don't you talk to my kids or don't you scold my kids or whatever, whatnot. That's just not the reality of me growing up, okay? My aunt, my uncles, whoever, the auntie across the street in the house in Ghana would be scolding me too, okay? If I wasn't doing something right, you're getting scolded. So, this woman was stern. She was like, go home. I will watch you. Do you know this man? No, go home. So, she did her thing. She stood on business and she didn't make them feel afraid in any way, shape, or form, So that's the thing, is create that safe environment when talking to them, because what was going on there was not a safe situation, in my opinion, for these two kids. Venetia, thanks for tuning in. So you said Asian men take pictures of Black people and post them online. Wow, I'm not sure if where the name of the site, but they do it to Black adult female too. Yeah, yep. Black youth. I've seen the youngest I've seen going missing here in Canada was 9. So what's a 9-year-old? They're not going to just get up and go by themselves somewhere. And those kids look like they're around 6, maybe 7 at the most. So, yeah, something wasn't right here. And in my opinion, anytime you see, even as an adult, anytime you see people just taking random people taking pictures of you, that's a red flag. That's cause for alarm. Because in the world we live in now, in social media and everything else, who knows where these pictures are going, right? So anytime, kids, man, woman, child, never a good thing, okay? So Frasho 7709. So you said this incident took place in Cartersville, Georgia, and you said you know some of their family members. Oh, well, listen, if you know that, please, definitely, 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 definitely talk to some people and feel free to let us know. Does Canada have curfew for children? No. No, 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 no. If there's a curfew, the curfew is between the parents and their kid. So, but there's not like neighborhood watch cops going around checking to see if your kid is, home at a specific hour. No, no. And that would be a useful thing to have for sure, given the world we're living in, and especially given the amount of Black youth that go missing here. Definitely be worthwhile. But yeah, no. No, no, no. Josh Morris, folks have to start back looking out for each other, no matter the age or male or female. That's what I'm saying. We are what we got, man. We gotta keep looking out for each other. If you see something, say something. If something doesn't seem right, it's likely because it's not right. So, this video is a clear example of how we do it. How we do it. She was on her way somewhere and she saw something and she said something and she saved those kids' lives. I'm convinced she saved those kids' lives. Now, me personally, I would follow up. I'd be like, ding dong on mom or dad's door and say, hey, this situation happened. Here's the video. Here's the license plate. Here's the man. Do with it what you will. And I also would be calling the police personally. And again, clear example of what we have to do. But thank you so much, family, for listening. As I said, this is something that I'm super, super passionate about, is missing youth. And I will, every time I see a story about it, I'm using platforms like this and my own to sound the alarm and, make sure that whoever those perpetrators are that are preying upon our Black children are put on blast. Thank you so much for tuning in, family. I appreciate it very, very much. And before I love you and leave you, I'm going to talk about the ADNC Narrative Power Summit that's happening on July 25th here in Toronto. And I have put the link to purchase the tickets in the description field of this broadcast. So I expect you to get your tickets. There's early bird specials. And guess who you're going to see? You're going to see Philip Scott and Demetra Kay and Wangel Zalalem, Emmanuel Kulu, Salam Debs, Simone Jennifer Smith, and our girl Efia Tekianan, and then our host Dr. Vibe, and then Carlos Morgan. That's the music. It's going to be at Aqua Supper Club in Toronto. Beautiful spot. We'll have good talks, good music, good food, good everything, good vibes. And we're going to have those conversations about our people, empowerment, just Black power, Black excellence, blackity, black. So I expect you to grab your tickets. I expect to see you there in July. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. I shall see you on the next one. Until then, please be safe.